You've been lied to about self-esteem. You've probably tried all the tips, hacks and tricks, but nothing's really worked, right? Well, here's why. Building self-esteem is actually easy, easier than you think. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how. Look, most advice on self-esteem makes it sound like climbing Mount Everest. You've got to work on yourself for months, meditate every day, cut out all negativity in your life, or read self-help books until your brain is fried. But honestly, it's not that complicated. It's not some mystical process reserved for monks or therapists. In fact, I'm going to show you how to build self-esteem without losing your mind. The problem is most of us are approaching self-esteem the wrong way. We're told, just believe in yourself or you need to love who you are. But then we look in the mirror and it's like, yeah, I don't know about all that. It feels fake, right? Like you're supposed to just magically feel good about yourself after repeating a bunch of affirmations or whatever. Here's the thing, you're not the problem. The problem is the advice. It's making you think self-esteem is this big, unattainable thing when it's actually super simple. You don't need to pretend to love yourself or fake confidence. What you need is to understand a few key things that no one talks about. First off, self-esteem doesn't mean you have to be perfect. In fact, trying to be perfect is probably what's holding you back. Think about it. When you aim for perfection, you're setting yourself up for failure because perfection doesn't exist. Ever met someone who's actually perfect? Exactly. Instead of trying to fix every flaw or weakness, start by accepting them. Now, I know what you're thinking, but that's easier said than done. Yeah, it's true. But here's a little trick. When you catch yourself being critical, ask, would I talk to a friend like this? Spoiler, you probably wouldn't because you're not a jerk. Start treating yourself like you treat a friend. Give yourself a break when you mess up. Celebrate the small wins and don't be so harsh on yourself. The more you do this, the easier it gets. Here's another truth bomb. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's not like, oh, this person is naturally confident and I'm just doomed to be insecure forever. No way. Confidence is a skill, and the more you practice, the more you get it. Think of it like learning how to ride a bike. The first time you try, it's scary as hell and you probably fall over. But after a few tries, it's like, oh, I got this. The same goes for confidence. It's not about being great at everything all the time. It's about trying, failing, and trying again until it becomes second nature. So how do you practice confidence? Start small. If talking to strangers freaks you out, try smiling at one person today. If you hate speaking up in class or meetings, ask one question next time. It doesn't have to be a TED talk, just dip your toe in the water. Each tiny step builds your confidence and eventually it won't feel scary anymore. This one's huge. So many of us base our self-esteem on what other people think. We're constantly worried, what if they don't like me? Or what if I embarrass myself? Newsflash. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to care about what you're doing. Think about the last time someone did something embarrassing in front of you. Did you dwell on it for days? Did it totally ruin your perception of them? Probably not. You might have laughed it off or even forgotten about it within 5 minutes. The same goes for you. When you mess up, people don't care nearly as much as you think they do. So the next time you catch yourself obsessing over what others might think, remind yourself, it doesn't matter. You're the only one living your life, so why let someone else's opinion dictate how you feel about yourself? Here's where most people get it wrong. They think building self-esteem comes from sitting around thinking about how they should feel better. But the truth is, you can't think your way to high self-esteem. You have to act your way there. Let me explain. If you want to feel more confident, you can't just sit in your room and hope for it. You've got to go out and do the things that make you feel accomplished. Maybe it's learning a new skill, finishing a project, or pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. The more you do, the more evidence you collect that you're capable. It's like this. When you achieve something, no matter how small, you're giving yourself proof that you're good at stuff. And that proof builds your self-esteem over time. So stop overthinking and start doing. Take action, even if it's imperfect. Comparison is the thief of self-esteem. Raise your hand if you've ever felt like everyone else is doing better than you. Yep, same. Thanks to social media, it's easier than ever to feel like you're falling behind. You see your friends posting their perfect vacation photos or landing their dream jobs, and suddenly you feel like you're not enough. Here's a reality check. People only post their highlights. No one's out there posting their failures, insecurities, or those days where they don't leave the house. So, When you compare yourself to someone's social media, you're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. Stop doing that. The only person you should compare yourself to is you. Are you doing better than you were yesterday, last week, last year? That's the only comparison that matters. Focus on your own growth and you'll be amazed at how much better you feel about yourself. Celebrate the little wins. One of the easiest ways to build self-esteem is to stop waiting for huge accomplishments to feel proud of yourself. Instead, start celebrating the little wins. Did you get out of bed and brush your teeth today? Win. Did you send that email you've been avoiding? Win. It sounds silly, but acknowledging these small victories helps build momentum. And that momentum leads to bigger wins. The more you celebrate your progress, the more motivated you'll feel to keep going. So take a second at the end of each day to reflect on what you did well. Write it down if you want. It's easy to focus on what went wrong, but when you make a habit of recognizing what went right, your self-esteem naturally improves. All right, here's the big takeaway. Building self-esteem isn't about fixing everything that's wrong with you. It's about changing the way you see yourself and recognizing that you're enough just as you are. The secret to self-esteem is realizing that it's a process, not a destination. There's no magic moment where you'll wake up and suddenly feel 100% confident in every area of your life. But by making small shifts, accepting your imperfections, practicing confidence, and focusing on your own growth, you'll start to see yourself in a whole new light. So if you've been struggling with self-esteem, know that you're not alone. But also know that it's not as hard as people make it seem. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. All you need is to take small steps in the right direction, and over time, you'll start to feel better about yourself. Building self-esteem is about giving yourself permission to be human, flaws, mistakes, and all. And once you do that, you'll realize that you've had everything you need inside you all along.